Hello, and welcome to a new episode of the Sovereign Goddess podcast. Authentic conversations with modern medicine women and goddesspreneurs alike, inspiring you to build your queendom with grace. I'm your host, Sabrina Riccio, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys. We are in our last weeks of 2017, and I came across this Instagram post and today, and I was talking about this emergence and what's happening in our evolution. And so it said 2016 was the caterpillar, 2017 was the cocoon, and 2018 is the butterfly. And it rained so hard on me, and it was just like a huge aha, and being like, yes, this is exactly what has been going on. So all I can say is that these next episodes of 2017 that are going to be out in these next couple weeks are really powerful, and they're really here to inspire you to go out there and really create a life that you love. And who I have on this episode is, God, I love this woman so much. I met her years ago when I was living in Encinitas in San Diego, North County, San Diego. And I met her through a mutual friend, and we just went to this mutual friend's wedding back in September. And end of August, I should say, beginning of September. And it was just like, oh my God, we have to have this conversation. And, you know, I'm a firm believer that everything happens at the right time. It's all divinely timed, and there's a divine purpose to everything. And for me, this episode is all about intuitive business and the future of conscious entrepreneurism with Danielle Blum, who is the creator and founder of World Native. And they're this beautiful platform that connects minds locally and globally to support individuals in a variety of ways through entrepreneurism and personal development to really show up. And so intuitively, I knew that this episode was going to come out when the timing was right. And lately, just intuition has been such a strong thing for me lately. I've been really working on my own healing. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but I found parasites the other day. So now I'm on this parasite flush, so I can really purge and release the shit that no longer serves, no pun intended, and just really become a clear vessel and an open channel so that I can allow the miracles to come through and be this conduit to witness these miracles in the world. And, even Danielle, she's an intuitive business coach, and she helps people really in their awakening process, and she helps them find their light and their gifts to share with the world. And then she's very passionate about creating a community to magnify our efforts for global change. And I feel like if this episode was out sooner, then we wouldn't really be able to talk about the global change that the people are having right now, especially because with the recent midterm elections, or special elections, I should say, that happened. And there's more people showing up and more people speaking up, and we've got a huge issue going on right now with net neutrality. And if you don't know what net neutrality is, essentially they want to revoke net neutrality, which means that companies, mega companies, are going to restrict what you can see unless you pay for a premium. So this affects social media, this affects Netflix and Hulu and news. So essentially, this is a way that the government is trying to take over and control the internet, which is part of our First Amendment rights, is freedom of speech. And so there's no accident why this episode's coming out now, because, the future of conscious entrepreneurism is to really step up and to really speak up and to practice what you preach and to show up and really make a stand for what you feel is right and what you feel is for the highest good. And so right now there's a lot of old traumas and a lot of stuff that's coming up because this is our opportunity to shift the planet. So again, there's never any accidents. Everything is always perfectly unfolding as it should. And this is the time for us as we go into a new year and we finish off this year to really allow ourselves to express who we are. The most authentic expression of who you are needs to come out right now. because you are responsible for how your life is unfolding. If you are not taking the steps that you need to take, or you're being guided to take, but you're feeling lazy or inadequate, or the who am I's are coming up, you're doing a disservice to the world, and you're doing a disservice to yourself. So as I'm going through this parasite cleanse right now so that I can clear out all the bullshit, all the stuff that isn't serving, so that I can be refueled again with light and love, and be this vessel and be this channel to support goddesspreneurs, to support women, to support men, to support countries and whoever needs it. I just want to be the best that I can to show up authentically and fully, share my gifts, and to be active in this massive paradigm shift we're facing. And it's such a beautiful time for us to be alive, because it's just an opportunity for more love. It's an opportunity for more connectivity, more connection, in a way that's like coming together in community and family, and to even just reach out to those we may not really feel like are aligned with us in a way, or we think they're separate from us because their lifestyles or whatever are different, because there is no separation. This is the stuff that we really need to face and we really need to become aware of. So I'm really excited for you to check out this episode. We're going to be talking a lot about fostering a relationship with your intuition and healing our money perception, anchoring in this 5D consciousness in the world today, acting from inspired action versus receptivity, and just having the courage to really show up in the world. And I mean, that's why I created Stay Woke. Like I came through after my recent ayahuasca ceremony, and it was like, this is an opportunity for helping people to really be awake and aware of what's happening. And I just wanted to say real fast, from now until the 1st of January, the price for Stay Woke will be $88, but it's going to be going up to $143. So this is a great way to get hours of work, and there's worksheets and Kundalini yoga classes and playlists, and there's so much stuff for $88. And I'm super stoked to see how it helps you. And also in the beginning of the year, next year, I'm really working on honing in on this a lot during this next Mercury retrograde, which we're about to jump into, because Mercury is my planet, right? Not only do I run a podcast, but I'm a Gemini sun and a Virgo moon. So it's who I am. And Mercury rules both the moon, Virgo and Gemini, if you didn't know. And so I'm just working on getting clear on how I can really show up and how I can really serve. And I'm really excited. I'm revamping all of my one-on-one work. I know my focus is going to be helping goddesspreneurs, and to really be showing up in a way where I want to help people realize their dreams and becoming reality. I'm here to help people align to their highest selves. I'm here to offer the tools and to really be the best version that people can be. Like, that's my intention, and that's what I'm really looking forward to seeing in 2017. So I'm really excited for you to dive into this episode. Danielle she's such a gem, and literally, like, this episode is so powerful, and you're going to hear what this beautiful goddesspreneur has to say, and you're just going to be like, damn, she nailed it. Damn. Like, this girl, she's just literally like truth bombs after truth bombs after truth bombs just coming out about business and life and intuition. And I just adore this woman so much. So I just wanted to say thank you again for tuning in and for your love. And if you're not subscribed, you should be. So subscribe to our podcast here. And if you love it, I would really love for you to leave a review. It really helps us to be found and discovered from people that, are looking for podcasts. And of course, if you want to share with your friends, or if there's anything that comes up, please feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at Sabrina Riccio. And I'm really excited to hear how this episode inspires you to finally go out there and to build the business and life that you love, because our lives are so short, and this is the time for us to really be like, you know what, I am worthy of living out my dream. I am worthy of aligning to my soul's purpose. I'm worthy to show up offering my gifts that I'm here to bring. So without further ado, enjoy episode 25 of the Sovereign Goddess podcast, Intuitive Business and the Future of Conscious Entrepreneurism with Danielle Blum. Looking forward to hear how you think about it and what you feel about it. So here we go. Hello and welcome to this impacting and beautiful episode of the Sovereign Goddess podcast. This has been for me at least probably 2 years in the making that I've really wanted to have this conversation with this empowering goddesspreneur, Danielle Blum of World Native. We were just at a wedding 2 weekends ago at our friend Miranda's, and that's how I met Danielle. And she was like my wedding date, and we were just going at it, just talking about the things that we talk about. To be able to have someone that keeps up with that intuitive riff and that flow, and it's just do we have to do a podcast episode together?
Yes.
So, and we were sitting at the Joshua Tree table, so it only seemed fitting. No, I'm just kidding. But so I have the founder of World Native, and you guys heard a little bit about the amazing things that Danielle is doing and how she is so passionate to really make change in the world and to empower people to live their life on fire and on purpose through intuition and through ease and grace and playfulness and community and connection. And she is just this woman is so in tune with her intuition and her intuitive gust that it's so admirable. I'm gotta get to that level. So I just wanted to say thank you and welcome Danielle for taking the time for being here and to share your story and a little bit about World Native and all of the amazing things you have going on.
Yes, thank you so much for having me here today. I'm very excited to connect with you on this level.
And we've had so many funny technical issues having this happen, and we're we were just talking it's because we're witches and witches should not be dealing with this kind of technology
yeah. Totally.
So I would like to start with you just sharing a little bit about what inspired you to create World Native. What is World Native, and what is the vision that you have with this beautiful organization and these group of like-minded spiritual entrepreneurs?
Yes, I have this vision, even more than entrepreneurship, really. I have this vision of a world that is globally connected, globally unified, and individuals know their purpose, they know their gifts, they're honored for their diversity. I have this vision of a world where we are supporting each other in our greatness. So not only locally and individually, but also globally, collectively, different countries working together, honoring our differences to uplift humanity and bring forth the fullest potential of what we could be on this planet when we're coming from love, when we're coming from service, versus coming from fear. And the vision of World Native is really about supporting individuals in awakening what's within them. What is that greatness that they have and what they're meant to bring out into the world. And through our gifts, I really believe that this is how we lead. Really, the essence of it all is leadership. By expressing the fullness of we are, taking the courage to go beyond what we've been taught and totally express who we are in the world. There's so much healing that will happen and connection. And for us to discover what is possible for humanity when we come together as a community with this intention and we are able to express who we are. So World Native is a platform that supports individuals in awakening those gifts, finding their purpose. We also have opportunities if you want to turn that purpose into a business. And so there's so many different ways that you can lead, whether it's a passion project, a business, volunteering, just contributing some of the world, because I think that's what this world needs more is individuals to know that they're already here and ready to go. We're leaders. It's not just the ones on top in our systems. It's all of us.
Yeah, and I love the idea of how you are creating this space for people to authentically share who they are, their talents, and to be vulnerable enough to like ask for help through community. Because I think like, we've been in this huge paradigm shift already where it's coming out of that competition kind of mindset and it's aligning more with community. So I'm sure with World Native, you're seeing people with all these different gifts and different fields and topics or things that, are lighting them up and it may not light the next person. So how have you seen this, like, because how long have you been doing World Native now? For
full into this business for the past couple of years now.
Yeah. Yep. And I think like I met you when you were like first starting, and to be able to see like the evolution, and I wanted you to share about like what does it mean to like going back to that intention, like keeping that intention and the reason why you are doing the work. Like what has that really showed you, just being consistent on why you're here, like the message and all of that?
But what I want to bring into the world. And I would say this is with starting a business, or if you're bringing your vision to the world, there may be challenges, there may be things that come up. What I believe is that's really just the universe saying there's something far better than you could ever possibly imagine. So in the beginning, when I got this vision, it was 5 years ago, actually, this came to me, and it was like this vision of the world, and somehow I want to contribute. And I thought originally I wanted to actually open up a physical center, and ended up starting to work on that, and then it transitioned and ended up not working out. And at the time I was disappointed because I thought it wasn't going to happen, but I kept going and I kept staying consistent to the inner vision and the inner mission, because that's been my guiding compass. So even when there are challenges, that's what gets me to wake up in the world, to wake up every single day, to know that I really believe there is a better way that we can be in the world and to each other. I'm just driven by this idea of how we can feel more inner peace with ourselves, with our neighbors, with our families. And I'm driven by that vision for the world really strongly.
Beautiful. And a huge thing about you, even when I like talked to Miranda, she was like, oh, she like Danielle is so about like intuition. Mm-hmm. And like being that intuitive guide, like intuitively guided throughout the ups and downs, and to honor the journey, trust the process, right? Right now you're in Colorado and you left San Diego, and it's just, you're on fire right now. You're just like, I'm going to go, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So how has it been to foster that relationship with your intuition over the years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been this journey of really learning to trust my heart's inner desires versus my head or my fears. And sometimes that means the thing outside of you or people outside of you may be wanting you to go in a different direction, but you're getting that inner pull. And so when I graduated from the University of College and I was out of the system and I decided I wanted to travel the world, that's when I made the decision, I'm going to follow my inner desire as an experiment and see what happens. And from that point on, I've been 100% following this inner thread. I thought I was going to be a doctor. I thought I was going to go down a path. It's incredible. I left and booked my first ticket across the world, that I'd end up traveling across the world, that I would be building this business. I had no idea any of this would unfold. Even now today, just traveling and just staying open and listening, and really learning to trust that over anything else, because you will find that you will be supported and it will guide you and show you who you are and what you're capable of in this world.
I love that. Mm-hmm. And I definitely see you're living like your soul's purpose. So when we talk about this like soul's purpose and the reason why we're here, what advice or what would you share with people who just feel like they don't know what they're doing? They don't know how to serve. They don't know how to show up. They know they're here to really step up, but there's been so many blocks or like disappointments along the way, or, the fears arising. What would you say to that person?
So what I would do is, it's this fun exercise I actually do in my Wild Awakening female groups, or my intuitive one-on-one sessions. This is an amazing exercise that you can do on your own, or you can do this with a friend. It helps you to tell the difference between what's your ego and what's your actual intuition. So what the exercise is you ask this question: if I weren't afraid, I would. And then you want to keep just answering that question. Put 3 minutes on the clock. If I weren't afraid, I would, and just keep going. I would dance. I would travel. I would find a job that's more fulfilling. Just keep going, keep going. And then the end of the exercise is actually pick something on that list and go do it. So when you actually do this exercise, it will bring up some emotion. Yeah, it will bring up some emotion, but you'll start to see like, wow, this is what I'm really desiring to do. And you may not have the full picture yet of like your big aha. Like for me, it took time to travel and explore and open myself up until I actually got that like, whoa, that really downloaded cosmic vision of this is why I'm here on the planet. So in the beginning, it's really, and it's still consistent. Like the vision evolves over time. So you'll find your purpose and things will grow. So even what I'm doing now, it's still evolving, but it's consistently drawing into that question and listening to your desires, following your desires, even if they don't make sense, even if it scares you to take that risk to travel or shift jobs or shift out of a relationship that doesn't serve you, but inside you know it's the right thing to do. The more we consistently say yes and answer that inner calling, it's just like a muscle. We're always getting that intuitive information is coming through us consistently, but we're so trained to listen to our fear, or we block it because it doesn't make sense logically, or how is it possible? I can't afford that, or I can't make this happen. But when you listen to the desires and you commit to listening and figuring out how to make it happen, this is when unbelievable miracles happen. Opportunities show up that are so divine and magical. It's really, truly like this is the synchronicity, or miracles show up for you.
Yeah, because essentially, like, I'm a student of A Course in Miracles and have been for about 4 years now. And the whole idea is that a miracle is that shift in perception from fear to love. And those limiting beliefs are part of the fears. And when we allow ourselves to recognize that those fears are happening because they're parts of us that we've ignored, that's where we can go in and practice the self-love and the self-care, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What does self-love and self-care look like for you when things are going tough?
Yes. Yeah. So it's good to really think about just asking yourself consistently, how can I support myself? And one of the biggest ways that I've done through my self-care practice. So I actually have a self-care journal, which helps me keep track daily of what I'm doing per day. I always incorporate some sort of meditation, some yoga. If I'm feeling, sensitive, or is there a friend that you could reach out to? Every single day doing something that is loving for myself. And I would say the biggest thing that has been the most loving for me is that when I truly want to do something that my heart is wanting to do, and I say yes, and I do it anyways, that has created such a deep sense of self-love, confidence in myself, because I know I can really trust myself. And I'm there for myself. And then also creating this business, knowing that I'm able to support myself with something that's from within me. So no matter where I am, I have this supporting me, which really feels loving for me, is that creating this for myself.
That's great. And I think as women, we need to be able to put out more, like have more of that time for us. We carry a lot, and we're super sensitive to a lot of the changes that are happening right now in the world and in our communities and our lives. Like we're becoming increasingly sensitive. And I think I see more women like really being vulnerable enough to like quit their 9-to-5s and to start living their soul journeys. So I know you have this wild awakening, as you were mentioning earlier, which is your female leaders mastermind. What is calling you to really help support women right now with business and with connecting to that intuitive truth and to just overall live a life aligned with their soul? What is calling you right now towards that?
Hmm. Yeah, it's one of those things also, like I did not even expect I'd be doing this as well. It's just like one of those things, I'm following the flow. I'm following what feels good, what feels easy and aligned. But one of the things that came up with, I've been in the business world for 5 years now, and I was scared to start talking about intuition with business because it's not talked about in traditional business. But the way that I've done everything that I've done has been from following my intuition and also learning the foundational tools of business. So it's like this beautiful marriage of blending. I almost see it as like spirit and earth. So intuition is like the full expression of you. The soul has the driver's seat in the world. And that's what's guiding the process. That's what's leading you to certain opportunities. I mean, everything that has been created wasn't really, there's a vision behind it, but it's been moment by moment trusting, and I end up meeting a partner and certain things end up happening, or I go to an event and meet someone. And then blending it with entrepreneurship. These tools are so powerful. So if you want to start a business, or if you want to find your life's purpose, if you want to be a leader in your life, entrepreneurship is taking intuition, taking vision, and giving it a body. It actually gives it physical form. Entrepreneurship, it's about making money, building something tangible that's actually impacting the physical world here. So by bringing in, you're almost birthing through vision into the form of entrepreneurship. I call it the birthing canal of vision. So I show an upside down triangle. The process I move through in our Wild Awakening Female Leaders Mastermind group is, how do you awaken to the fullest expression of you in this world, and then actually birth through vision and create something tangible that's a business or a passion project that's supporting you and your life's mission. And so I think your question was on intuition. This was like a big piece for me of having the courage just to start speaking about intuition with business, because I think it's so important that business be not just business, but how can we have it be something that truly impacts humanity positively? I don't
Well, that's
care.
the evolution of business, right?
Yeah.
Like, to be successful, I feel in the coming times, is to find that alignment with spirit, and to also, we have to create spiritual businesses. Like, what is our intention for building business? Is it to make money for material, like gain, or is it to make money and to use that money to support other people's dreams, to use that money for a charity, to use that money for nature, to use that money to help those in need? Like, these are the things that we have to work on, also shifting our minds, because of course we can have the abundance around us, but if that is the driving force, it's not going to really work out in business anymore. And I think that's why we're seeing the rise of small business and entrepreneurism, and people really getting out of that corporate mindset.
And you think of just what I love about business, you almost think of it like energy healing work. So if you're an
Right.
energy healer, you work with someone one-on-one, but in business, you have the potential to create something that impacts thousands to millions of people across the world, maybe even billions of people across the world, especially with technology. We have the ability to impact people positively all around the world. That's what's I think is so cool about business also, and also what you're sharing too, just the impact reach. And it's definitely evolving, I believe, in this way of impact first, but you could see that you can make a lot of impact and still be abundant
Totally.
as well.
Because there's still that stigma of like, oh, being spiritual means that I have to, like, I can't have the money, or like, I can't have the nice things, because there's been so many times where healers were not really, it goes back to indigenous cultures where the healers were taken care of by the communities, and they were they were fed and had a place to stay and all these things. There was no monetary means for them. But we live in a society where we need the monetary needs to survive. I'm in California right now. It's definitely not cheap. Like, we live, like, inflation happens, things happen. Yes, we are going back to basics where people are like growing their own gardens and things like that. But we also do need to be able to be in this world and show up. And so we need these things. So how can we start healing our perception about money so that we can bring in more abundance?
Yeah. Is that the question? How can we start
Yeah.
healing our perception? Yeah, it's really beautiful. One of the pieces of work that I've been doing a lot lately is anytime I feel some sort of resistance towards something. So money is a beautiful thing because, or is a beautiful one to work with because so many people feel this. Anytime you feel sort of resistance in your body towards something. So let's say you're feeling anxious about money. What I do is I actually get really quiet and I do a meditation and drop into my body and I actually drop into my higher self. And then I look at if any sort of fear or resistance is coming up, you could actually talk to it. So you could actually talk to the fear within you that has some sort of resistance and fear to money. And you could start asking it questions. You could ask, how old are you?
Mm.
Or what do you have to share with me? What gift are you sharing with me? So I've found, as I've done some of this work, money issues, a lot of it, this is a collective energy that gets passed along in our society, and it gets put in our energy field, and we take it on and we believe it's us. We also believe that it's true. I believe the truth is that we are abundant and we are fully supported when we're in alignment and we are following our truest heart's desires. Abundance can come in so many forms, even beyond money. So it can come financial through money. It can come through someone opening up their house for you, or people offering free services for you. When you are in service, when you're ready to show up in the world, you will be supported. In the beginning, you may feel fear, but you say yes and you keep going anyways. And doing this exercise where you're really loving yourself, not being mad at yourself for having those feelings, but energetically holding the part of you that is holding a piece of society, and really honoring and loving and sending love, and then choosing to release. You can just say that to yourself. One of my spiritual teachers, she teaches me this. I choose to release what no longer serves me, and just exhale that all the way through your body. Send it with so much love, because that is not the truth of who you are. Evolution, I believe, is at this time calling for all these leaders. It wants all these leaders to be abundant, because the more abundant that we are, the more that we can give and serve humanity. That is our natural nature and our natural way of being. So I believe that we are innately abundant. And so it's just learning to tap back into who we really are and playing from that space.
I love that. See, and what was coming up for me when you're talking about that, because something that's been kind of a struggle for me lately is, with what's going on in the world, and especially in our country, like they love saying resist, right? I've been talking about this a lot on like my Instagram stories and things like that. But it's just another form. It's just another way, like resist. You're resisting the idea that that brother who is acting out still needs help and love. And when you're saying with this exercise, we can do it with things to help heal the world as well. It doesn't have to be just our own things. Like we can tap into that resistance of the world, of the collective, and be like, how old are you? And when we look at that, we can see that that goes back generations.
Yes.
Because it's part of our DNA, and it's part of like that ancestral karma that's been passed through, that we, our ancestors didn't figure it out. So then it gets passed to us for us to try to go around. Because I've been seeing a lot of this like cyclical things from 50 years ago coming up again.
Yes. Yes. And really what I believe the healing is not, like you said, not resisting or being angry or pushing away, because that's creating more.
What are the solutions?
and holding it in our heart. So actually sitting with love, really feeling what's happening on our planet. There is some energy of people, there's a lot of heavier energy on our planet. The more we resist it and try to pull away, the more polarity gets created on our planet. Versus if we hold it with love and show up in our hearts, that's when, like you said, the solutions start showing up. And I really believe love, as cheesy as it may sound to some people, truly the frequency of love, when we can hold anything or anyone in the frequency of love, it unwinds all of the old traumas to show more of who we are. That's what people are seeking. They want to feel safe. They want to feel loved. So by stepping up as lead, holding that love, even in the face of fear, even in the face of doubt or hatred, standing in that love for humanity, for others, is what's going to shift this planet.
Yeah. And I mean, like yesterday was 9/11, and, I was thinking a lot about like 16 years ago, and there's still that pain and trauma there, and that happened to us when we were all like in this very like solar plex, Manipura development of like that empowering and things of that empowerment. And that came at us when, at least our generation, when we were very vulnerable and young, and we've been dealing and fighting through this like war for 16 years. And something that came through for me this past weekend was that I want to stop calling myself a warrior, because that means I had to keep fighting.
Yep.
Right. And we are working on being in more of the space of love and this 5D consciousness, this unity Christ consciousness. And right now, like we are out of the 3D. I feel like collectively we are out of the 3D and we're in that 4D. And that's why there's all this like turmoil and things, because everything's coming up to be healed and transmuted to allow ourselves to go into that 5D unity consciousness.
Yes. I mean, I think so many of us are so much more sensitive now intuitively, but we're still balancing kind of the old and the new way. But the way is to really embrace it all with love and know that we're shifting into this new way of being. And,
well, I think that's what makes our generation so amazing, is that we remember what life was like pre and post technology. So that's why I feel like we are the bridge keepers to the new world, to the new consciousness, because we are able to kind of have our feet in both worlds, like being the shamans. Like we're all these shamans where we're able to tap back into like the old, but also be able to honor like what the evolution of what's happening.
Yeah. And it's like almost looking back to of all that has ever happened in humanity and just the world and what has been created for us, and everything has happened for a reason until where we are today. It's just the continuation of evolution. Everything's been perfectly unfolding for us, and we're just to even more fuller version of ourselves and what's possible on this human experience.
So how do you feel like we have the courage to really face that and to own that and to recognize that?
What's the question? How do
you feel like we have the courage to be able to face that and to recognize that, especially when things aren't going our way?
So how do we get the courage to face that?
Yeah.
What's that quote? It's like, it talks about courage isn't the absence of fear. It's having fear, but moving forward anyways. And so even when you have others around you that are still operating in a way that maybe is dysfunctional and not so beneficial, or you have, others around you telling you that you can't do this because it's not practical. If you are in touch with your heart, the courage comes with just trusting that and moving forward anyways, to eventually where you do it so often that you begin to trust that over anything else. So it's really that you're going to have the fear. There's going to be resistance because there's still a lot of the traditional way of thinking that dominates our world mostly. The courage is the courage to listen to yourself, to listen to your heart, to trust yourself. And I would do a lot of meditation and yoga to stay really, really clear internally, mentally. And it's not even about the destination. Like we're going to be evolving, things are going to be shifting, but it's this moment, fully enjoying and experiencing you in this moment and sharing your light with the world. Just that, sharing your gifts is such a gift. That's why it's called sharing your gifts with the world. And that alone brings so much light and love.
Yeah. And I want people to have the courage to follow their gifts and to follow their dreams and to keep going. There's like so many coaches out there and tools and resources today, thanks to the internet, that people can, I feel like I've been doing this journey for a long time. So I'm definitely on a more evolved space of my spiritual journey, but there are people that are just beginning, and so the people that are sharing this information and the content or whatever are there to hold space and to be the peacekeeper as well. The people that are just slowly awakening are just having this aha is going through the shit, right? Like, I mean, it's not always easy because we have to face the things that we've repressed for our lives up until now.
Yeah. I think it's,
go ahead.
I think just I think the shift is a lot of people, you know, feel in their daily life unfulfilled in the relationships they're in. They're unfulfilled in the work they're in. They're kind of just living. They're exhausted. Maybe they're physically fatigued. To realizing there is a better way of being, that you can feel healthy, vibrant. You can have a career that is fully aligned with your natural abilities, your gifts. And so in turn, you find it more pleasurable, enjoyable, fun. It gives back to the world so much more because you're really sharing your innate gifts. It's almost like it's uncovering the layers. Because when we were younger, we were already this expression, and then we were just put layers onto ourselves of what we should be or who we should be. And we just got in this mindset of like, I have to be doing this because it looks this way and I can't go off this path. Two, yes, you can. And there is a way to uncover and release those, the heaviness and the aspects to be what you've always been. It's not becoming something. It's who you've always been.
It's going back to that innate truth of who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And having the courage to be like, I am worthy of that. You know, a lot of people think we're unworthy of it because we go back to that trauma and that pain from the past, and there's still some scarring there. You know what I mean? But when people remember that those things that have happened that have not been the best for us up until this point, those are kind of like our posts to be able to show others just how you survived, you know, and how you were able to conquer and thrive from there. And that also gives that person the opportunity to realize that they aren't alone, and that, you know, you've done the work and we can share it. Like, we have a responsibility to share like the tools and the things that helped us so that we can help faster with the evolution of this ascension of our society.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we can't be playing small anymore. And the people that, you know, are hurting or are struggling, like, they are deeply connected with us. Like, there is no separation anymore. Like, there never has been, but real talk, like, we can't be seeing ourselves as separate anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I feel like that's been part of like my soul's purpose, is to just help people see and remember, like, what are the things that light you up? What are the things that inspire you to be a better human? What are the things that may have been tough, but have taught you the lessons that can help someone else? Like, what are the things that are really fueling you and firing you to be on this planet right now? And how can you be aligned? How can you be authentic? I think the authenticity has really been on the forefront lately that I've been seeing. Like, I feel like people want to be working with brands or people that radiate authenticity, because I feel like there's such a craving for authentic leaders right now.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. That's the core of it. I think people are really craving, like you said, authentic connection. That's why Facebook is so popular. More and more people are building communities. That's why I'm excited about the community we're building. We're craving connection. It's like a human desire, human need, and not just any type of connection or any type of community, but a community that supports each other's full expression, allows each other to be their authentic self, and not
Unapologetically.
Yes. And can you imagine that?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, I do know that. I mean, my community, you know, being part of this like Burning Man community and going to these festivals and teaching it, I am always around people who are authentically expressing themselves and like no shame, like being who they are and loving others because they are radiating.
Yeah.
Like, there aren't those boundaries where they feel like they need to like meet up to some kind of status quo or like have a certain look or things like that. Like, people let their freak flag fly. Mm-hmm. And so now have to be able to allow ourselves to allow that freak flag to fly, even when we're not like at these festival gatherings, like through our business, like through our authentic truth. I mean, I know I get like people all the time being like, oh my God, you crack me up. Like, you're so funny. Like, you're always like out there, just put yourself out there. Like, you're a trip. But it's like, I'm just here to authentically be myself, because I believe in being real, be authentic. Right. And I feel that we've been around so much fluff in business, and I even seen how I've put fluff in my own business too. when people want just like straight, like real talk, like this is how it is, like stop trying to fluff up to make it all like whimsical and like unicorny. Like what is real? What is real? Like, yeah, there could be the magic of the unicorn behind there. Don't get me wrong. I love my unicorns, but like there has to also be that core of like, this is who I am. This is what I'm here to do. Like, this is me. Like having that courage to really step up and be like, love me or hate me. This is what I'm being guided to share. And if, you know,
Yeah, I love what you're saying. It's really grounding the vision. So not just having these insights, but like you said about with business, is having really a structure to actually bring these pieces into the world. So yeah, I like that you said that.
I don't know. I feel like, you know, we have the ability to not work as hard if we take the time to set up the structures before.
You mean in your business
in
or
business?
in your life?
Yeah. I think, but at the same time, I feel like, you know, because I feel like a lot of people don't know how to do business in a smart way.
Yeah, I will say that I like what you talked about is like, well, first off, the core essence of a soul-aligned business is that whimsical aspect, is fully trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, listening to that above anything else, having that be the guiding compass, and then blending it with the tactical strategies of business. Business is, like I said, the form of physical form. So it wasn't until when I had all these visions in the way beginning, I had no idea how to actually make money. I had no idea how to bring it into the world. And then I spent, few years really learning and integrating marketing and business and the actual structure of business. Then when I combined those two, it was just so powerful. That's why I was able to take off so quickly, because I understood the laws of the business,
The universe and business.
And business is physical. It's physical laws. There's having to understand technology, and all of it's a part of it. And really learning to love it and enjoy it, and also doing it in a way that what's really important is many people think, okay, I have to learn business. So maybe they think they have to go to business school or learn the traditional way of business. And traditional way of business will teach one way of business. You got to set up your business financials, your business planning. There's a whole system and structure of that. The way that I'd like to teach business and the way that I think business should be is learning the core foundations of business, but really knowing yourself, knowing your strengths and your gifts, because you could run your business that's fully aligned with your natural movement. So if you feel like you like to move around, I would recommend creating your business virtually. If you, even your marketing, you don't have to do any type of marketing. They'll tell you to do all these different types of things. What do you love to do? Do you like speaking? Okay, so do videos. Do you love writing? Do blogs? Really, and there's obviously so much more to this. I'm just giving an idea of it, but you can run your business in a way that feels so good for you, feels pleasurable, feels fun. And it takes a while to really like learn yourself. You use your intuition to feel out your business, but you create something that's so aligned with who you are. You don't have to fit the traditional mold of business. However, you will learn a lot of the business tools and structures. Those are very, very helpful.
And when you were talking about that too, to me, that is the epitome of the balance of the masculine and feminine in business. Like that flow, the mystical, all of that is part of that feminine, but the structures and all of that is very the masculine logic brain. And I feel like as we're in this space, what's coming through is like, as we're transcending over again, like above this idea of duality and coming more into a space of unity, that is, we have to be able to be successful in these new times. We have to be able to honor the masculine essence of business and the feminine essence of business.
Yeah, I think for that, when I see feminine and masculine, comes in two different ways. Number one is the feminine is the receptive. So in business, learning to balance out the energy of opening up yourself energetically to allow opportunities, allow clients to come to you. It's called attraction-based business. So while you're opening yourself up, And then there's the other part of business, which I guess you could call it more of masculine. It's more drive forward. So there's moments when you have inspired action and you're inspired to move forward and drive your business. So that means to reach out to new people or actively go speak and actually put your energy out into the world. And then that's when you see the karmic effect. That's when you put yourself out there, when you act from inspired action. And you don't have to do it when you're exhausted. Do it when it feels right, when you feel inspired. And you put that out into the world, it will come back to you. And so those moments where you need to be more relaxed and receptive, the work that you put in, it will come to you.
I think that's a really good point that you put out there too, is the exhaustion. Because I know like a lot of my friends who are entrepreneurs have all had a lot of issues of burnout. I've definitely been there before. Because, we're just trying to push it out there. But to me, something that's really important is filling your cup. We have to make sure that our cup is full and that our basic needs are met. Because if we are like goddesspreneurs or soulpreneurs, or the elements of our life, they're not different, they're cohesive. So if your body is sick or ill, you need to take the time to honor that. If your relationships are rocky or on the rocks, you can't ignore it. You have to be able to be willing to speak about it. They all coincide. Our business, our life, our work, our relationships, there is no separation. Our bodies are all cohesively put together because we are navigating through this lifetime in this body. Like our soul has been doing this for a long time. And this is our body's experience to be able to have this life journey. You know what I mean? So I think it's really important for us to really talk about making sure you don't allow yourself to get to the burnout and using your intuition to hear when you need to take a break and know that it's okay. Because as you were saying, like if you're not feeling inspired, you're not going to create great work.
Absolutely. We are trained in our system in the US. I don't know where people are watching this from, but it's very go, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. That's the idea in entrepreneurship. There's like a very masculine energy. And I really don't believe that is helpful at all for men or women. And like you said, really listening and honoring your body at those times when we need rest. It's not about having to get to $1 million. It's about creating something that supports you in being the expression that you are in this world, and the amount of money that you need to really support that. You don't need to hustle to the point to get to a certain level so it can mean something. And really listening to your body. I've really shifted into that type of business mode because it doesn't work when you're exhausting yourself. You can end up getting really sick. I've seen this in many entrepreneurs that push so hard to the point where they can't even work anymore. And so really honoring your body is very, very important. And you can have impact. You can have a lot of growth. It's like that cycle. So there's times in my business where I am so energized and I am out there just making so much movement happening, connecting with people, doing interviews, speaking, sales calls, marketing something, creating something. And then there's times where my body's like, I just need to rest. I'm exhausted. I want to just nurture myself. So I'll allow myself to have those times, even if it's like a few days or sometimes even like 5 days. You just need a break. Usually it's not 5 days for me, but it's like a few days. I just need to be out in nature and maybe do some self-care, self-massage. And then I feel so nourished. And then when I'm ready to go, I have so much more energy again. So I'm really listening, especially when for the women watching, you're on your moon cycle. There'll be times when you need to just rest and sleep for a few days. Your body's regenerating and it's rebuilding itself. Exactly. We're taught like, oh wait, I can't sit here. I have to keep hustling. I really think it's the opposite. The more we can listen to our body, the more successful you will be. And success means not only financially, but happy and fulfilled and enjoy in your life.
Tapping in and being aligned to that abundance that is in so many forms.
Yes.
I love that. Okay. So we have a few more minutes. So I want to ask a few fire questions that I like to ask at the end of every interview, this has been great. Okay. So what would you say is your spirit animal?
Woo! Oh my gosh, I have a few. One of my main ones is the white owl.
Ugh,
The ocean sea turtle,
nurture
um,
mama.
butterfly, and the bee.
Yeah, busy worker for sure.
And
Yeah,
balance between work and stopping and smelling the flowers.
I love
And it's
that.
about fertility and fruitfulness, new beginnings, abundance. Um, yeah.
I love that. Okay, what
Mhm.
would you tell younger Danielle today?
Oh, younger Danielle. I would just say, trust your heart, continue, do exactly what you're doing. You are going to find, you are going to do amazing things, and keep listening to your heart above anything else. That will be your guiding compass through this whole thing.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
What's the mantra that's been really in your head lately?
Mm. I invest in myself because I love myself.
Woo!
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 Awesome.
Mhm.
Yes. That's so
Mhm.
good. Whoo, I just felt that like all in
Mhm.
my body.
Yep.
Where do you see this? I know we're in this like autumn season coming up. So we're coming to a close to the end of this year. What would you say has been the biggest lesson for you this past year?
Hmm. Again, it comes back to fully listening to the truth within you. And in the beginning of the year, I was listening and came to a point in my business, but there was still a part that wasn't fully expressed in myself and what I wanted to share in the world. And after losing a friend at the beginning of this year, that's when I made the decision that I'm not going to hide anymore, and I'm going to fully express why I'm here, because we have such a short time on this planet and life is so precious. It's not about the end goal. It's not even about it's not about getting to the point of what you're creating. It's about the journey, enjoying the journey, the presence, the experience, taking it all in, not wasting a moment, connecting with your heart and being as present as you can, because life is so short. And I want to really, really be the full expression that I can be and share who I am. And really, it's about the journey. It's not about the end goal.
Love that.
Yes.
And my mantra has been honor the journey, trust the process this year. So I
Mm-hmm.
see you on that one. What is your definition of sovereignty?
Sovereignty. What do you mean? Like freedom
Like,
or
like freedom, right?
freedom? Freedom. Yeah.
Choosing. And who would you say are some of your go-to guides that you call upon to ask for help as you facilitate and create this space and also honor your own journey?
Do you mean my human guides or my spirit guides? Well,
Whoever is coming
I call
through.
it all of it. I always call upon, before any sessions or client meetings or groups, I always do a prayer, and call in just higher light beings. I open myself as a divine channel, a vessel, just to be here of service. How can I serve beyond what my mind thinks I want to create, or what I think I should be doing, but what would truly, truly serve? And I call upon the energy to move through me and move through my heart. And then I also have some different spiritual teachers that I work with in San Diego, quite a few different people that I connect with. And I'm always looking for different teachers, and I love learning.
Hey, I love
Yes.
that. And where can we find more about Wild Awakening?
Yes. So if you want to learn about Wild Awakening, I'd go to www.worldnative.com, and you go to our program tab, and you go to the
Native
third
with
tab.
no E.
Yes, no E, nativ.com. And it's under the program tab, and then under Wild Awakening. And also, if I don't know if you could share the link, I shared the direct link just to the Wild Awakening page, would be
Mm-hmm.
very helpful. But
That will
it's
be on the show notes, everyone.
yes, such a beautiful community. If you're looking to find your purpose and bring it out into the world and be a part of this amazing community of women, it's definitely something just to check out for sure.
When are you starting?
Our next one starts October 10th.
Perfect.
Yes.
So the links will be in the show notes and you'll be
Mhm.
able to see more of Danielle. Okay, one last question.
Yes.
You have the mic. Is there anything else you would like to share to close out?
I would like to challenge you all to do that process of asking yourself, if I weren't afraid, I would, and go ahead and come up with a list of 5 to 10 things, and then circle one thing on that list and go do that thing today.
Yeah.
Or schedule it into your week to do it by this week.
That one was like, oh yeah, that one was
Yeah.
like, that's a
Such a good one.
good one. Yeah,
I
I
love it.
really appreciate that. All right, and then what are your social links so that we can find you?
So at World NATIV, so at World Native on Facebook, and then at Instagram, World NATIV.
Perfect. Yes. Well, thank you so much, Danielle.
Thank you so much.
Like this woman has just so much knowledge about business, and every time I'm around her, she's always just like, yeah, let's do business. Let's talk about changing the world. Like, let's do this. And so when we were at the wedding, we were like, oh, we for sure have to do a podcast episode talking about living on purpose and like going with everything that we talked about today. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for the work that you're doing and for supporting women and men alike to really go forth and tap into their intuitive gifts, their truth, their light, and to share that with the world and to connect with one another and to go back to the innate truth of why we're here.
Yes. And I want to thank you too for the show and all of your gifts. And you're just amazing at this podcasting. And I love your expression and your passion and really what you're sharing is so important. So thank you.
Thank you, sister. I appreciate you. Well, thanks
you.
everyone for listening. Again, you can find all of the links on the show notes and you can find Danielle through World Native, NATIV, no E, on Instagram and Facebook, and just go out there. And I know Danielle probably feels the same way, like stop playing small. This is the time to rise up. This is the time to share your light, to be in your truth and sharing your soul purpose unapologetically with ease and grace. Like there's so many people here to support you. We've got the guides here. Like this is our time. This is our time.
Yes. Go for it.
Go for it. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening and we'll be seeing you soon. Take care.